Hey, what's up, guys? Cameron Aiken, the crazy one here. So, first thing I'm going to start out by saying, since this is kind of a story time topic-based video, is a couple minutes ago I just made a post um, asking for your guys' help. I want your guys' help to come up with ideas, like, something I could tell a story about, like, could you tell, a story about topic like this, whatever, and stuff like that, or just give me topics that I can try to talk about. Because, as stated before in my last video, talking about, I got to get surgery next Thursday, and the first, 3 days or so afterwards, I will be spending with my father so he can help me. But after that, once I'm home, I'm gonna be stuck, pretty much doing nothing. So I'm gonna be sitting around playing a lot of video games, watching a lot of YouTube and movies and stuff, and be bored out of my fucking mind. So if you guys want to give me topics or whatever to talk about and stuff, that would be great. Because other than this one that I just kind of thought of right after I made this post, there's nothing else I can really think of to talk about. I've talked about like alcohol, drugs, like nicotine since I was like in the trying to quit nicotine around the time I made that video. So like a bunch of other shit. Like even talked about like YouTube, like just a bunch of different shit. So after this, I really am kind of stuck. I don't know what else to really talk about. So yeah, give me some ideas. But yeah, today we're gonna be talking about because I kind of was talking about it a little bit in my last topic of this video, talking about like work, and I talked about how I got fired in a really shitty way from like when I worked at the hospital and when I worked in the movie theater and stuff. And I was just thinking about it. I was like, dude, I've been fired in a lot of shitty ways from jobs and stuff. So I kind of just want to make it a whole topic to talk about and make like a 10, 15, 20-minute video, or even half an hour, however many stories I tell, and kind of how long it is. And especially since I'm still kind of sick today, kind of gives me time to do something. So yeah, I'm trying to think of a good one to talk about, because yeah, I already told the story about when I got fired from Marcus and getting fired from Mayo. So I'm trying to think of other places. I think what I can start with is talking about how I wasn't even really fired. I was kind of forced to quit, but it was still almost just as bad as kind of getting fired. It was stupid. But yeah, after I got fired from Marcus, before I went to Mayo and moved into my apartment and stuff, after I got into Mayo, I went and got a job stocking at Walmart, because while I was working at Marcus and stuff, and my hours were just all over the place. Like sometimes they would schedule me like 20, 30 hours at Marcus and stuff after I turned 18. Sometimes I'd be scheduled like 5. It was just all over the place. So, and after I turned 18, I was like, I don't really want to keep living with my mom. Like her and my stepdad were always arguing, and just I was always getting into arguments with them because I was an adult, and I was like, well, I'm an adult, I want to follow my own rules and stuff. So I was like, smoking weed sometimes in the basement when I wasn't supposed to, and just doing stuff, just being stupid and shit. So I was trying to save up and work to get my own apartment. So I was working at Target for a little bit, doing stocking, but that didn't last. But yeah, so I worked at Walmart stocking for about 3 weeks, 2 weeks, something like that. And then I ended up getting out of my really bad relationship that I talked about with one of my exes and stuff. That was one of my best friends, and I always wanted to date her, asked her out many times, but she kept denying me, and then we finally got together and stuff. So I ended up starting to work at Walmart like right around the time that we broke up and stuff. And it's just that shit just really hit me hard, especially like her cheating on me with like my best friend that she's still with now and stuff. It just hurt. So there'd be sometimes I was at work that I would just be like so just like anxious and depressed and stuff that I would just be like throwing up at work, or if I wasn't throwing up, I was just in a shitty mood. So like someone would, like just say something like that wasn't even super bad or anything, but just say something like, "Oh, you're not doing your job right," or "You need to do it this way," and I would just flip out at them and tell them, "I was like, I know what, I know how I was trained. I'm doing my fucking job right," and stuff. And I was just kind of just being a little bit of a dick and stuff. That's kind of just how you can be sometimes after a relationship. But yeah, I was like really mentally unstable, and went in and talked to one of the main like HR managers there and stuff, and even talked to my manager in that position. We all talked together, and I was like, "Hey, I know I haven't been here long and stuff like that, but I need to take like a week off or something like that to go into like the psych ward. I need to get some fucking help. Like, I just got off a bad relationship recently, and it's putting me on edge, when people are like kind of like giving me constructive criticism or just saying like anything like somewhat kind of rude, and instead of just like taking it and biting my lip, I'm going off and cussing people out, and which I can't be doing, at my job and stuff. Like, luckily, like anytime someone did that, we were kind of like in the back, like, throwing the truck or unpacking the truck, however you want to say it and stuff. It's not like I was on, the floor, and like, a customer, an employee, said something, I'm cussing them out when like customers around and stuff. It's in the back where it's just us employees, but still, can't be doing that. Can't be cussing out my coworkers and stuff. But they pretty much end up telling me, and they fucking lied to me. That's what fucking assholes. They told me is like, yeah, you can, and we'll even give you a number. We have like a mental health person you can call and talk to, which my job that I work at now has the same thing and stuff. But they told me I had to temporarily resign from my job, but once I, got off the psych ward, I could reapply right away and get my job back. So, I didn't really understand what they meant, so I'm just like, whatever I gotta do. So I did that and went into the psych ward for like a week or something like that. Literally, like, as I got out, I drove over there, and I was like, yeah, so can I get my job back and stuff? They're like, maybe. It's like, you can go ahead and reapply, but no, they ended up telling me, which they didn't tell me, and like I said, I think they were just lying. They didn't want me to work there anymore. They probably didn't like me as an employee or something. They're like, yes, you can reapply, but you can't reapply for like another like 90 days, so 3 months. Like, and even if you reapply, you might not, get your position back. So I ended up, I didn't like cuss them out or anything because it's not their fault, but I just, like, the HR manager that told me that, I just simply asked her, I was like, I just asked her, like, the only time I swore, I was like, why the fuck didn't you tell me this? Like, when I was quitting, I was like, were you trying to lie to me? And stuff like that, just so I would quit and I couldn't get back in here? Like, I was like, did you, like, purposely try to screw me over? Of course, she's just lying through her teeth. Oh, no, I didn't know that. I didn't know this at the time and stuff. And afterwards, I kind of found out some more information. She's like, I'm sorry, I didn't try to, like, screw you over or anything. I'm just like, yeah, sure, whatever. And I ended up that's when I ended up like applying for more jobs and got into Mayo doing dietary aid and stuff. But yeah, I didn't get fired, but I was pretty much forced to quit my job because I wanted to take mental health time. And where I'm currently working at now, I pretty much kind of did the same thing when I started my job in the liquor store now. I was only working there for about 2 weeks, and my borderline personality disorder was getting bad in October, and I asked if I'd, take some time off to, go into the hospital for a couple days. And I wasn't in the hospital long. This was like the shortest time I was ever in there, maybe 3 days at most. And I ended up leaving and stuff and went back to work after that. But yeah, we have like an FMLA thing and stuff, which I'm also doing right now while I have to get my surgery and stuff, so I don't won't get in trouble for taking that time off. But yeah, it's just like, I get it. I wasn't working at Walmart that long and stuff when I asked to like go get help, but forcing someone to quit their job and then saying, oh, you can reapply, but you might not get your job back, and oh, you can't even reapply for 3 months, so you pretty much gotta find a new job anyways, unless you want to have no fucking money. So it took me probably a couple of weeks or a month before I got into Mayo, because I was trying to apply for a lot of places, but having interviews and some some places offered me jobs, some places didn't, but mainly, I was trying to look into getting into the hospital at that point because it paid well and it was a good job and it's full-time and stuff too. That was my actually first full-time job. It was a little stressful, but I did relatively good until they fired me, which, like I said, I already talked about that story of, being dehydrated and sick at work and passed out and even got taken into the ER and they still fired me. But, yeah, I'm trying to think of another story. I ended up, this isn't a fire story. I actually didn't get fired from this place, but it still is a story and kind of talking about, which I probably would have ended up getting fired at some point, because I ended up fucking, that day before I ended up walking out of the job, cussing my fucking boss out and stuff. So probably shortly after that, he probably would have ended up fired me. But I worked at a place in my town. I won't say where, but it was just like a somewhat fancy food place, like a fancy restaurant, and I was a dishwasher there, and I don't remember how long I worked there. Not super long, but long enough to like get used to my job and be relatively pretty good at it and know where everything was and stuff. But yeah, I worked there for about like 3-4 months when I was still living in my first apartment with my old roommate Tyler, and it was like, sometimes it got busy at night, but it wasn't anything crazy. Like, we could still handle it. But I ended up going into work at like 11 or noon that day. And even when I just popped in, it was so fucking busy. There was like so much shit piled up. And this older black guy, Curtis, was working there and stuff. He was a cool guy and stuff. And he's like, yo, man, put on your apron and, go grab something to drink if you need to. And, set it in our normal spot and start fucking helping me out with this shit, man. He's like, I've been here since 8 o'clock this morning and shit, and there's been so much shit, I ended up, setting up the dishwasher, clean the main stuff that we had to, and like, right ever since we opened up, it's just been packed. He's like, I don't know why, but it's fucking crazy. So I worked from like 11 in the morning or something like that until about 5 o'clock, or I was scheduled until I think 5 or 6 when we had this new kid and another guy that was kind of training this new kid and stuff like that. And yeah, about like 4 or 5 o'clock or whenever and stuff, an hour beforehand, like the kid came in, I think at like, when did he come in? Probably at 4. So he had to like get out of school and come home and get ready and stuff and come into work. So he worked like 4 to 9 or 4 to 8, whatever hours he could and shit. But he came in and stuff. And then at 5 o'clock, this other guy that was training him, which cool guy. I miss all the people I worked there with. They were pretty chill. But kid came in, and I just told him, because the whole entire day it was just busy, and my managers kept coming in like, oh, you guys need to speed it up. You need to speed it up, and I ended up just like one of the last, like they told us this like every 15-20 minutes. They're like, speed it up. We need plates and stuff, which I get it. But I ended up finally just like telling my boss. I was like, yo, you need to like shut the fuck up. Like, we're fucking working our ass off here. We're constantly trying to fucking push out dishes for you and constantly clean shit. But you also got to realize I'm the only person here that has to run all of these dishes back and put them in spots and stuff. I'm like working my fucking ass off. So is Curtis. He's the one fucking cleaning everything and stuff. I'm pretty much just like drying the plates off and everything and stuff and putting them back. But I'm pretty much doing most of the work. Yes, like Curtis is the one cleaning it, but all he has to do is scrub a couple things, spray it off, put it in the dishwasher, and hand it to me. Then I gotta run all the shit back. So it's like, we're working our ass off, and I just told my boss, I was like, if you fucking come in here again in another 15 minutes to half an hour, tell us to speed it up, I'm walking out. I don't care, I'm fucking walking out and I'm quitting. So then like a couple minutes later is when that kid came in that we're training, the 15-year-old. So he's like, what's up, man? He's like, I'm like, dude, I'm out of here in about an hour when the other guy comes in. But I'm like, dude, it's been a shit show today. I'm like, it's extremely fucking busy. I'm like, you better have a good, you're probably not gonna have a good time tonight. He's like, oh shit, man, I've been having I had a bad day at school and stuff. That's not what I wanted to hear, but it's like, I'm already here. I can't just, go home. Told him, I was like, yeah, well, now that you're here, I'm probably gonna leave. I'm supposed to be here for an hour, but today has been a shit show. Managers have been treating us like shit. I'm probably gonna end up leaving. He's like, all right, I mean, if you need to, but I hope you stay, here the last hour until he gets here and help us, try to, power through this shit. And I'm like, yeah, I'll try my best, man. The kid was really nice, and I didn't want to like fuck him and Curtis over. But yeah, 5 minutes later, they come in when we're trying to work our ass off. Like me and Curtis were kind of just spraying everything off, and we kind of had the kid like kind of run all the plates and everything back and stuff. And Brian comes in there, or not? Yeah, well, yeah, his name is Brian. Chef Brian, my boss, comes in there and he's like, hey, I'm sick of coming in here and saying this to you guys, but speed it the fuck up. I mean, you guys got 3 people in here and we still don't have any plates or anything. It's like, speed it up, guys. Like, why are you so slow? I looked at Brian and I was like, you know what, you fat fuck, because Brian was a big, fat, ugly motherfucker and stuff. Fucking douchebag, fucking terrible ass fucking manager. He ended up getting fired shortly after that, which is good because he was a fucking prick. But yeah, I looked at him and was like, you fat piece of shit. I'm like, what did I fucking tell you like 15, 20 minutes ago before whatever the kid's name was came in here? It's like, if you came in here and said anything, I'm walking out. I'm like, Brian, fuck you, man. I ended up taking my work shirt off and stuff that I was wearing and my apron. I threw it right out of his face. And I walked through that fucking kitchen just wearing my fucking jeans, my slip-resistant shoes, and I ended up walking into where we kept the soda and everything. That's where we clocked in, clocked out. I went in there, clocked out, and walked through the kitchen and left, and never ended up coming back. And it's so funny, like, that manager was such a fucking retard that the next day I was scheduled to open. And so, like, around, 8, 9 in the morning, I'm still sleeping, but back then, just in case if I ever need to come into work early, if they need me or anything, I kept my phone on sound always, which don't even do it anymore. I almost never keep my phone even on vibrate, because I hate being bugged, sadly. But, yeah, it was 9 in the morning, and I get a call from Chef Brian. He's like, hey, Cameron, you're scheduled this morning, man. Are you coming in? I'm like, what the fuck do you think? I just threw my work shirt and apron at you yesterday. You really think after the way you treated us yesterday, I'm coming in? I'm like, no, I told you yesterday. That's why I left an hour early. I'm fucking done. I was like, I quit. I'm never fucking working another fucking second in that shithole of a place. He's like, well, I wish you would have gave us a call this morning and been professional and told us instead of just walking out yesterday. It's like, now I gotta fucking try when you were supposed to be here an hour ago and try to see if Curtis or someone else can come in and work for you. Or if no one else can come in now I have to work your job. Like, I don't give a fuck, man. Figure it out. I was like, fuck you. I ended up hanging up on him. But yeah, they asked me on Indeed when I was applying for a place, the Waterfront came up on there. I know I said I wasn't going to say the place that I work for, but I just fucked up. But yeah, the place was called the Waterfront. And it came up, was like, oh, do you want to leave a review for the Waterfront since you used to work there? And I made a review, and I really was honest. I was like, yeah, management there is terrible. They treat people like crap. It's a terrible place to work for. I'm like, if you like being treated like crap to like working in a fast-paced environment, you would love it. And I think the Waterfront ended up like reporting my review, because I ended up seeing a week later when I went to apply for some jobs on there before I got my current job. It said that my review or whatever was against community guidelines or something. So I think whoever saw it, they probably reported it. Wow, this guy that worked there, he's talking bad about us and trying to make us look bad and stuff. But which I didn't even really want to do that, but fuck them. But yeah, I've worked a lot of jobs sadly at my age, but I think the last little story that I will talk about, or maybe I'll tell 2 more if I can think of another one after this one, but I worked for Michael's, the hardware store where they sit and stuff, arts and crafts store or whatever. I said hardware store, but I think maybe technically it's a arts and crafts store. But yeah, I did stocking there for a little bit, and same thing. I only worked there about 2 weeks, sadly. But right around when I started there, my old cat Daisy ended up passing away. Like my ex Amy and Tyler and stuff came to hang out with me and my mom when I still lived with her. And Tyler just asked, like, hey man, like, where's Daisy? I'm like, oh, she's probably sleeping in her chair and stuff. I'm like, I'll go grab her. And I grabbed her and brought her up on the bed by us and pet her and stuff. And Tyler pet her a little bit. And then Daisy hopped off the bed because she didn't really know my, Amy or anything at the time, yet. So she hopped off on the bed and just started like having a seizure and ended up dying, like on the ground and stuff. And that fucked me up because that was like my baby, kind of like how my cat now Sage is like just my best friend, my baby and stuff too. So I was scheduled to work the next day, and then I had like a day or two off after that, and I was supposed to work again. So the next day I called to work. I'm like, hey, no, I'm supposed to come in at like 5 in the morning because I worked from like 5 to 9 or something like that, and we kind of like stocked it like before they opened up. But I told him, I was like, hey, yeah, I'm not gonna be coming in tomorrow. I'm sorry, my cat just died, so I need to like at least like take like the next 2 days off and get over this shit. And then so I took that day off, and then when I was supposed to go back to work, just because I have the worst luck ever, sadly. I don't know if it's just like a karma thing from being a bad person when I was younger, or if it's just luck in general is just shit for me or whatever, but I ended up getting really sick with the flu, and I was supposed to go back to work, and I woke up at like, set my alarm, went into work at 5. I normally set my alarm for like 3:30, 4 in the morning, so I could wake up, take a shower quick, and head into work. I'm not much of a breakfast person, but maybe sometimes I'd eat like a bowl of cereal or whatever I could and then go into work. So I woke up and just puking my brains out and just feeling like shit and stuff. So I called into work. I was like, hey, I know that I called in on my last shift because of my cat passing away, and this probably doesn't look good, but I ended up just waking up this morning. I think I have the flu. I've thrown up, got diarrhea. I just checked my fever. It's like 101. Just feeling like crap. I'll see you next week because that was like the last shift I was scheduled, and then they were going to put out the new schedule and stuff. I ended up taking time off or whatever, waiting for the weekend, and they put out the new schedule literally a day before and stuff, so they would put out the new schedule like Sunday in the morning. So I woke up Sunday and checked the schedule, and the schedule was out, but my name was on it, but no shifts. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, why aren't they scheduling me nothing and stuff like that? It's like what's going on? So I ended up calling and tried talking to my boss or my manager for the morning, and she was already gone. Like, the latest she would be there, it would maybe be like 11 o'clock noon or something if it was a little busy and she'd need the help, but she normally was there from like before we even opened up the doors, from like 3, 4 in the morning until like noon or something like that. So by the time I ended up waking up and calling Sunday, and I was even still sick at this time. I was sick with that flu for almost like 2 weeks straight. It was terrible. But I ended up calling and she wasn't there, and I'm like, hey. So I ended up just getting the new schedule for next week, and I had to take a couple days off because I'm still kind of sick right now with the flu. I ended up taking a day off because my cat died. And just to see the schedule, my name's on there, but I'm not scheduled at anything. And I was like, do you know what's going on? And they're like, I'm not sure. Like, you're not one of my associates, so I'm not sure. I'll try to see if I can figure anything out. She's like, let me try to call your manager and figure it out. So she talks to my boss, calls me back maybe like 3 minutes later. She's like, hey, Cameron, I hate to tell you this because I'm not even your boss or anything, but such and such, can't even remember her name. I work so many jobs, it's hard to remember like every manager's name unless they're like a total piece of shit or something like that. She's like, yeah, she hasn't taken your name off the schedule yet, but she didn't schedule you on purpose because you don't work for us anymore. She was like, after you missing that day because of your cat, which is understandable. I get it. If my dog, she's like, I don't have a cat, but I have a dog, a couple dogs, and she's like, if my dog died, I'd probably have to take a day or two off of work. I get it. She's like, but you took that day off, and the next shift you're supposed to come back, you called in sick, and you've only been here for a couple weeks, so it's like you can't be like, already missing all this work and stuff, so you're not working here anymore. I'm like, really? I was like, it's not your fault, but that's kind of bullshit. Like, and especially just not putting me on the schedule and not even calling me or anything, letting me know I'm done. Like, I'm trying to like look at the schedule so I can come in next week, work, and make money. And I just see that I'm not even on the schedule. I was like, really? She couldn't even have the decency to give me a call. She's like, listen, if you were one of my associates here and if I let you go, believe me, I would have sent you a text, email, or called you and formally talked to you instead of just doing that. She's like, that is kind of bullshit. And I was like, yeah, it's not your fault. She's like, I appreciate it. So it's just like, I've gotten fired from jobs for good reasoning, like me being stupid and, purposely calling into work because, I drank too much the night before and I was hungover, or a couple of my friends asked me, hey man, do you work today? I'm like, yeah. Like, oh shit, well, it's all good. I wanted to hang out or something. I'm like, you know what? I don't feel like working today anyways. I'll just call in sick and, and then I'll end up getting fired for, good reasons or something like that. But yeah, no, I really have gotten fired from many jobs in some stupid ways. Like, there was another place that I worked for a little bit, and this was like a place that I would work like 45 hours a week or something like that, so just a little over like overtime. And there was another job where I worked like really stupid hours, but it wasn't too bad. I only worked 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday. I worked from about 5 in the morning until 3 o'clock, and then we would kind of just get everything done, clean up and stuff, and then go home. And it was nice having Friday, Saturday, and Sunday off instead of just Saturday and Sunday, because I know a lot of people love their Monday through Friday jobs, working those 5 days and then, having the weekend off. But I feel like only having Saturday and Sunday off sometimes isn't enough time, because normally if I worked a job Monday through Friday and I only had a couple days off, Saturday would probably be my day to hang out with friends, family, do whatever and stuff, and then Sunday would be my day to like clean and do laundry and stuff, and it just didn't feel like enough time. And that's kind of another reason now why, even though a lot of people are like, oh, you're only 26, you shouldn't be working 15 hours a week, but that's why I work part-time and stuff now, so I have so much more time to like hang with my friends, family, take care of my cat, take care of myself too, because anytime that I'm just working, like when I work full-time, it really fucked up my mental health more than like my mental health is already fucked up even now. It's just, I get way too stressed easily, especially with my disabilities, and I can't work like more than 30 hours a week. Like, even when I started my new job, I worked about 25 hours a week and was making like $450, like $500 a week or something like that, which was relatively pretty nice. And now I only make about $200 a week, which is a lot less, but working my 15 hours a week like I do now is really nice. But yeah, no, what I was getting at, we worked 5 to 3 at this job, and kind of same thing I talked about when I was at Walmart. I was moving in my first apartment again, and was just having a bunch of issues with Tyler, my old roommate, my old buddy, and he was just being an asshole. Like, I would have to go to sleep at like 8, 9 o'clock, and he would have friends over sometimes until like midnight and just be fucking loud, like blasting music, like laughing really loud, talking really loud, sitting, out in the living room that was right next to my bedroom, and just wouldn't shut up. And I would even go out there sometimes like, hey, I know we live together and we're both on the lease, but I'm like, dude, I have to work at 5 in the morning. I'm trying to sleep. I was like, shut the fuck up. And he was like, oh, just fucking deal with it, fucking put on some music, whatever and stuff. So then I ended up finally just like moving out like a month after this shit. But yeah, it really fucked my mental health up, so I had to go into the psych ward again, and luckily I was working there long enough so they gave me the time off. But yeah, I took a week off, went to the psych ward, came out, and went to go back to one of my first days switching over to part-time because I was just like, I can't just do these like 45, 50-hour weeks anymore. It's too much. So I was going to work like 25 hours a week and stuff. My first shift that I was supposed to go back, I don't know what happened exactly. I think it was kind of one of those things like at Mayo or something like that. I ended up, I was at work. I worked most of my shift, and it was right before we would take one of our breaks. And what I did at this job, it was very easy. I just worked on a line and like packaged, sandwiches, put hot dogs and buns, whatever, and stuff, so it could be, packaged up and put in vending machines. And I was working on the line, and I don't know why. I don't know if I was dehydrated or what it was, but I passed out again like I did at Mayo. And luckily I haven't had any like fainting spells in many years. I used to have a good amount. Like I ended up fainting at like a bunch of different jobs. But yeah, I ended up passing out and ended up like waking up like a minute or two later and stuff. And they're like, and shit. And they're like, oh, what, Cameron, are you okay? Are you okay? I'm like, yeah. I don't know why I just passed out, but I'm good. And they ended up calling an ambulance and stuff to come take me in, and they ended up, just because I worked out in Onalaska at the time, so they took me out to the Gunderson out in Onalaska and ended up taking me to the ER, and then afterwards I ended up just having to like take a taxi, which luckily was free through my insurance and stuff. I had to take a taxi back to my work afterwards and give them a doctor's note and pick up my car, obviously, because I drove to work and stuff. So dropped me off there and went in there and talked to my boss. He's like, oh, well, you just took off all this time for going to the psych ward, and now your first time here, you end up passing out and had to miss the next day, and now on the doctor's note, it's telling you to miss tomorrow. It's like, you're already like switching over to part-time work, and now like you're supposed to miss another day. It's like, I just don't think you should work here anymore, man. Oh, and I just said to him, like, so you're gonna fire me because I have passed out, like something I couldn't control? So like, I know on the doctor's note it says I'm supposed to take tomorrow off and rest up after that, but I planned on coming to work tomorrow still and not listening to that doctor's note. It's like, he's like, don't even worry about it, man. He's like, you just throw that doctor's note in the garbage when you leave here and go start looking for another job. I was like, cool, thanks, man, and stuff, and didn't even know like really how to respond after that and stuff. I ended up just leaving and stuff, and everyone working on the line, they're like, see you, Cameron, like, hope you start feeling better, hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. I just responded back to everyone. I was like, I won't see you tomorrow. Trevor, or whatever the guy's name was, I was like, he just fucking fired me. They're like, really? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, oh, that sucks, I'm sorry. And I'm like, it's not your guys' fault, it's his fucking fault. And I ended up like leaving after that. Trevor kind of looked from the office hearing me say all this and kind of just was like making like a pissed off face, like, really? I just fired you and now you're gonna go and tell everyone about it and stuff and act like I'm the asshole? It's like, yeah, you kind of are an asshole. You fire someone because they fainted on the job. Like, fuck you. Like, I don't know what is up with a lot of these shitty jobs. It's just fucking bullshit. But I really think it should be 100% against the law for like a job to fire you, like if you are like dealing with like health issues, or like you faint on the job, or you need to like, miss work because you're extremely sick, or like me, like recently having to miss work because of all my gallbladder issues or anything. Because if I was working in another job that wasn't so more like a lot more understanding, like where I am right now and stuff, I would 100% probably have already lost my job and stuff. And especially me being sick now and I'm supposed to go to work tomorrow, I'm going to try my best to work tomorrow. If I'm feeling as sick as I am like today and I have yesterday, I might have to miss work again tomorrow. And I can't continue to keep missing work and stuff because I will end up getting fired at some point. But most places, you miss a couple days within a time period and you're done. Luckily, my job now is pretty understanding with shit and they give you a lot of leeway, but still, like, if I'm missing way too much work, they'll end up firing me and stuff too. But it really should be illegal to get fired for like really stupid ways, like me, getting fired, at Mayo for literally like passing out, and then same thing at like working at canteen, getting fired for passing out and stuff, and then supposed to take the next day off to rest up, because I ended up fucking, once again, got a concussion, because when I fucking passed out in the line, I hit my head on something and shit, and it's ridiculous. So, alright guys, yeah, I'm gonna end the video once again, as I stated at the beginning of this video. If you see my post, go and comment and try to think of like a good like topic-based video for me to talk about.